Hey everyone, welcome back to the lab. In this video, we're going to be talking about my 4 side project income sources and giving a breakdown of each. So we're nearing the end of June, which means it's the end of another half and time to reflect on how it went and where I want to go in the future. I do these kinds of reviews and reflections every quarter to half to kind of just see where I am in my life and if there's any issues, how can I fix them? Kind of think of it like a retro or something. Now, over the past year, I've launched several new projects, from starting a membership to writing and filming more videos. And I regularly get questions about why do I even do these things and how are they working out? And so here I'm going to share a breakdown of my side project income sources to give a bit more context for these discussions and kind of just have it out there so I can, link to it in my future posts that talk about this and stuff like that. All right, so let's start off with an overview of my income sources. So overall, I have 4 side projects that actually make money. And this does mean that a majority of my projects, I have about 46 and counting, make 0 money and really make negative money because, I still have to pay for their upkeep. Some of them I'm keeping online. A lot of them I've killed, but still, I'm definitely net negative on these things. And you can see my big list of projects here on my website, and I've got it all color-coded and stuff as well. All right, so let's go into the breakdown. And here for the breakdown, I'm using percentages because I think that's really what matters is relative terms. This is not a lot of money. It is not ramen profitable, but for directional reasons, I think, percentages are more useful for this discussion. And so in order of income share, we can see that my HAMY Labs YouTube, which you're probably watching this on, makes up about 56.4%. And then my Hyminians membership makes 25.2%. This gives members some discounts. It gives them access to my example projects repo. And it's just probably the main way that people can support me outside of just watching and sharing these videos. Cloudseed, my F# project boilerplate, makes up about 14.5%. And then I'm HAMY, which is this site, hamy.xyz, makes up about 4%. And so these two are ads based, really. YouTube and this site are ads. Hyminians, this will be a subscription based, and then Cloudseed is a one-time purchase based. And I have links for all of these here if you want to learn more. And so for this overview, I really wanted to dive into the shares component because I think it's interesting. And so something to highlight about my income is that, 85.5% of it is coming from my shares category, which is money directly or mostly attributable to the blog posts and videos I create, here on this site or on my YouTube channel. And so obviously YouTube, if it's YouTube ads, you must be watching the videos. Hyminians essentially had to have come from a share because really the only way that I share about the repo, which is what most people are trying to get access to, is through my detailed technical guides. And so this is basically very share-based. It's here's a course and here's extra materials if you want to dive in deeper. And then my blog posts, obviously, on this site also shares. And we could probably argue that Cloudseed is also attributable to be shares because I also don't run ads on that. I talk about it on Twitter sometimes, I guess. But largely, you probably wouldn't find it unless you have a very specific long tail search term outside of my blog posts that are talking about it. But we'll leave it out for now just so we can have some diversity here. And so before we go into the next section, I want to show YouTube is a majority of this stuff. And then Hyminians people that are, paying to support my channel are the second largest. And then this site, which I've been writing for 13 years, is really not making a lot at all from ads. And so I get asked pretty regularly, why do I make videos and why are they in the form they are? You're watching this right now and all it is me reading my blog posts out and providing commentary on them. But it's 80-90% me reading the blog posts. And the reason they're written and that I like writing, I've again been doing this on this site basically for 13 years. I enjoy doing this. And I also think I'm relatively decent at it. And I like the process of writing and stuff, so I enjoy doing this. And the reason I make videos and then post it on the channel in this form is because they're just outperform in terms of reach and revenue any of the blog posts I've ever written. So, I write this blog post and I put it on YouTube and it honestly doesn't necessarily get more views, but the revenue it gets for those views is 13 times higher just because I guess YouTube is better monetized. I don't know. And so I've tried to find a happy medium between the writing that I really enjoy and, doing a little bit of extra work to do the thing that actually seems to be working, which seems to be these videos. I'm trying to meet people where they are, but not, bend myself over backwards to do it. And so, yeah, I'll admit that these are probably not the best quality videos you've ever watched. This is honestly more of a podcast, I would say, style kind of thing. And so this is going to turn off a lot of people. but they work for me and my process, and they're still enjoyable for me to make. And I think finding something that is working reasonably well, but that you also still enjoy doing is kind of a necessary factor to find success and satisfaction long term. And so this is probably what you're going to get from this channel going forward. Anyway, I get asked this question a lot, and this is why. All right, so that's kind of like an overview of my income sources. Now I kind of wanted to do like forward looking, like what does this mean for me? What am I kind of thinking about going forward? And so it's great to see that my shares are continuing to bring in income. I enjoy creating them, and this income helps offset the costs of experimentation, which makes this seem like a fun and sustainable hobby for me long term, and thus something I will continue to invest in. I am totally negative. I think I've been negative on my projects overall since I started them. Like individual projects, some of those are profitable, but like net across all my projects, I'm super negative. But that's okay. It's a fun hobby. And I like doing these things. So as long as it stays fun, it's still good. Now that said, I think it's clear that shares alone are not and cannot be enough to support myself full time. They can be a fun hobby, but my shares are too niche and technical to reach a critical mass necessary to reach ramen profitability on ad revenue alone. I do deep dives into F#. I love F#, but let's be real, there's 12 of us online. You can't really make a lot of ad revenue about that. A lot of my things are deep dives into how do you build HTMX interactive islands with F#. That's a very small niche of people who really want to see that. I think they're very invested because no one else is making that thing, but there's probably less than a few hundred of you. Let's be real. And to make, I think, ad money as a creator, you really kind of have to have more mainstream content, I would say, if that's what you're going for. And this just the things that I enjoy making, they're just not going to be that. And just for a little bit of data around this, for reference, tech videos often are getting RPMs, which is a revenue per mille, which is 1,000, of around $3. And the most popular tech videos like mine are not popular, get around 10,000 views, meaning revenue of $30. And yes, there's some creators like Theo and Primogen who are kind of making more mainstream or Fireship even content that are more digestible, and those can get hundreds of thousands of views. But content like mine is this is a deep dive into this very specific thing and how I built it. The best of those get 10K. And mine don't even get 10K. So let's just say the best it's possible is $30. And each of these videos can take anywhere from 4 to 20 hours to produce depending on the video, which means making $1.50 to $7.50 per hour. And it's this is money, but you're better off sticking with your day job, especially software engineers still paid pretty well. So better sticking with that if you're trying to go for money. Another reason why I make videos like this, where it's mostly tech-based, is so that I can cut down a lot on this. Probably half of this or more for video creators is editing, and that is something I hate doing. It is not useful to me. It is not fun. And so for me doing this, I can basically have my video creation time, which makes this a bit less abysmal. But I don't even make this much, so it's probably about the same or worse. Anyway, for a deep dive in that, you can check out this video where I kind of dive into how much money I made in my first month of monetization and some interesting data I got from that from YouTube. And so I think this is a common thing in the creator economy. Most creators, tech or not, cannot go full time on content. The latest statistic that I heard from Business Insider or Morning Brew or something like that is that about 50% of creators make less than $15,000 per year, and I'm making way, way less than that. But even if the happy path, if it was successful or I was just an average creator, would not be enough to go full time. And so if they want to make money from it or go full time on it, they really need to lean into other sources of income. This is partnerships or service offerings or products and stuff. And you see this all the time with people building up a following of 1 million people, and then they're trying to sell some sort of thing like a YouTube course or whatever it is. And this is largely because you just can't really make that much money off of ads alone. That's just the way it is. And so while it's not ideal, ideally I just have infinite money and do whatever. Overall, this might be a good thing. I found in the past that sometimes hobbies are best kept as hobbies, and trying to go all in on them sometimes makes it feel more like a job and kind of steals the fun away, the whole reason you started it in the first place. I learned this last year when I was trying to kind of got burned out software engineering, and I was I've always wanted to be a founder. I always like creating things. Let me do this full time. And then I tried it and I was okay, I actually don't like this. It's more of a job now. You can learn more about that here. And so going forward, I'm going to explore other routes of monetization to see where this thing takes me. Probably building more side projects and seeing if those make money. But let's be real, over the last 46 projects I built, very few of them make any money. And overall, I'm net negative. And if you ask my wife, the thing is I'm really good at building things. I'm very smart, but finding something that like other people actually like is very hard for me. And so, most of these things are interesting to me and like 12 others online, but not necessarily to anyone who's willing to spend money. And maybe that's not great, but maybe it's not the worst thing in the world either. Largely, I think I'm just going to keep doing what I'm doing. I like thinking about these things, crystallizing my thoughts into these shares, and then discussing it with others, you all, online. And if I can find a way to do that enjoyably long term, then I think that's a win in my book. It's okay for the hobby to stay a hobby. But there's always that nagging feeling, like, if there's just money lying there, if I can just build something and you'll pay for it, like, why not, right? Right? Yeah, I don't know. Seems like the entry to the rat race. Next. Anyway, that's my breakdown of income sources. Thanks for following me on my internet journey thus far. More to come this year, and interested to see where it goes. If you like this post, you might also like What is HAMY Labs? My journey from software engineer to entrepreneur and back again, and how to find fulfilling work as a software engineer and achieve more impact with less stress. Kind of what I learned from this whole journey in my past 6 years, I guess 7 now, of being a software engineer, and kind of the advice I would give to someone who's maybe feeling a little bit lost in their career. That's it for this video. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.